Our next guest may be known as a hometown hero in Scottsdale, Arizona, and you may know him as the brains behind Lovesick. But here on the Introduction Podcast, we like to dive a little deeper than the surface. So without further ado, I'm pleased to introduce you to Collin Mcmannis.
Motivations come in the weirdest disguises. Like something could happen to you and you could think it's a terrible thing, but it could end up being that pathway to something amazing or something great. I believe the reason this brand has been successful and like the reason why people buy stuff is because of the story. It's hard to predict the future. The past can tell you a little bit. And if we're learning from the last 2 years, taking little bits and pieces of what I've learned along the way and implementing those into the future, trying new things and taking risks. Again, you got to take risks too.
The last one I did was with Rich.
Rich?
Yeah, your boy, the artist.
Oh,
Rich.
shit. How was that?
It was cool. He's a cool dude. He was pretty good. I went to the show and
Oh, yeah, we saw each other.
it was cool. It was like, I didn't realize that he was like, in the gaming industry and stuff, and he had like a cool little transition with like art and stuff.
Yeah, he's a unique individual.
Yeah, 100%.
He's pretty cool, though. He's like a very, very nice guy. He's always been, the way I met him, are we rolling?
Yeah.
The way I met him, I had just moved to LA in 2015. And my first 6 months I was down in Hermosa Beach. And then I moved up to Brentwood over on Wilshire. And I got like a random DM from him. And it was like, yo, what's up, man? Just saw you live in LA. I saw you work for a clothing brand. Would you want to get lunch sometime? And I was like, what the fuck? This is like kind of weird. I haven't, people don't reach out to you, especially in a city like this, just randomly. And I was a nobody. I wasn't really doing anything. I was working for a brand, small role. And we went and got lunch at Cabo Cantina right on Wilshire there next to Q's and shit.
Oh, that's OG.
It's gone now.
Yeah, it's gone.
Yeah. Thank God. It was a terrible place. And we just became friends. And then we've always like stayed in touch. And then he did a couple custom pieces for me. I have like that big mural in my house. It's like an LA mural with LeBron on it. And then for my launch party a couple years ago, he got together with my sister and they made like a custom. Everybody like that was close to me took a picture with a Lovesick hat on, and he like plastered them onto this like piece of wood and then like glazed it over and put Lovesick on it.
Oh,
super cool.
Yeah, that's sick.
So he's always been like a really, really, really nice guy. I like him a lot.
Yeah, I genuinely, with his art, I feel like there's just one little thing until he's like selling his pieces.
Fucking pops.
Yeah.
I know it because his shit is so unique.
Yeah, it's very
and
dope.
It's like so colorful and it's so like arty. What we see online or what we see people buying and shit like that. And I've always wondered, I'm like, damn, like when is he gonna hit that peak?
Yeah,
because his shit is so good.
Yeah, 100%.
It's so cool.
He's got the perfect like personality for it too. I feel like because he is like he's super nice. He's also like a little bit like quirky, like which is I think is perfect as someone who's got like a dope brand or like you're just even that much further.
We all got someone
closer
wrong.
to unique. You know what I mean?
We all have something wrong with us.
Yeah, it's like I honestly I think that's the something right. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because you guys, there's a lot of people who just go with the status
like
quo.
Something wrong is something right.
Yeah, 100%. Because that he's using that, channeling that to not be just like every other artist. Or
I mean,
you're doing the same thing. Just
same with Lovesick. I mean,
yep.
What was wrong with me is created what is right with me.
Exactly.
Which is, it's a weird perspective because you work so hard to not have those wrong things happen or feel wrong or things that aren't right happen to you. You think that's like you work so hard to like become a good person and do these things, but those things are kind of what shape you to be whoever you are. So it's a weird up and down roller coaster because it's like a blessing and a curse.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I get that. I mean, it is all perception.
Right.
Right.
I mean, it is perception. If you're a really, really positive person,
yeah,
it's great. But you know, when you got demons and you got to work things out, it's like the ebbs and flows. It's terrible, but like I said this not too long ago, but disguises, or I said motivations come in the weirdest disguises. Like something could happen to you and you could think it's a terrible thing, but it can end up being that pathway to something amazing or something great.
100%.
And it's like, if you can have that perception from the beginning, you save so much time and so much heartache and so much worrying. That's something I'm trying to do because I don't have it. I go through the fucking fire and then I come out and figure out, but I am in the heat when it's bad. That's just how I've always been. So
I feel that I'm very similar. And, you know, it's not till recent. I've been going to therapy. I've been like probably done like 5 sessions now. And like I think it was not the last one I went to, the one before. This therapist, she was saying essentially that like, and I don't know if you're similar, that's why I bring it up, is because I try to handle all my stuff like just internally, right? I don't want to bug someone else with it. I don't want to like be too vulnerable and like let somebody have some power. I just kind of try to figure that shit out inside, and then I'll raw.
Right.
But like when you're figuring it out inside, I feel like that's when you're kind of going through the fire, or at least for me.
That's you hit her on the head. I mean, is that going to be a problem?
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Yeah.
The guy just started working.
That's it. Hold on just a minute here while we quiet down the neighborhood. Cool.
I'm glad you said that before we started.
Yeah, I know.
I was like, I couldn't tell if it was me.
No, it was definitely them. What you were saying about like you try to handle everything internally. Therapy's cool. I agree. I just had my first session in like 4 years yesterday.
Oh, shit.
And I've always, it helped me in the past. I did it before I started Lovesick. And then I kind of got away from it because the pandemic started and we went online and shit, and it just wasn't the same.
Yeah, I don't like doing it online.
I've had my first session again, and I think that's what I really can relate to you is that I don't talk to anybody about any of my problems. Like I internalize them and I think about it, and that's why I make rash decisions sometimes or say things that I maybe not mean and up front and then try to retract. Because I don't discuss with anybody. I discuss it with myself. And that's dangerous.
Bro, you have no idea. I feel that so much.
Yeah. So like the idea of being able to just talk to somebody, even if you're just repeating what's in your head, it's like so valuable to me, in my opinion. And I feel like it's kind of looked at weird for men. And I encourage everybody to do it, even if you don't have problems. I mean, you might not think you do, but then an hour in a conversation, you're like, damn, I just talked for an hour and she didn't say a word or he didn't say a word. So I'm all on board with that, but we're very similar in that way. It's about internalizing shit and then not really making rash decisions because I'm making the decision with myself. It's the same with Lovesick. I mean, almost everything I make, I just internally decide if I'm going to do it or not. Some things work, some things don't. And so I'm excited that we're like growing a little bit so I can like kind of lean on other people a little bit, but totally baby steps, dude. Baby steps.
Yeah. I understand. Do you like to be in control?
Yeah. I mean, depending upon what, I mean, yeah, like I hate being driven around, if that means anything. That's like one of my worst things in the world is taking an Uber or having somebody drive. I want to be driving all the time. I hate that. But yeah, control, I mean, I'm okay to relinquish it if it's in the right hands and it can be executed the right way. But like, as far as my career and the brand and all that, I think right now it's smart that I'm in control.
Absolutely. I mean, look, regardless of what happens, nobody's going to care about Lovesick as much as you do.
Exactly.
So you're going to be willing to go the extra mile, to take the extra step. Whereas even somebody really rocks with it, they're not going to go as far as you or care
Exactly.
about it as much.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I'm very protective of it. Something I've been working on over the last like year is being more open for help. I haven't really taken a lot of help and up until this past year. And since I've taken some exterior help from other people, it's been getting better.
What does help look like for you in terms of Lovesick?
The first help I got was with digital ads. I don't know how to do that stuff. And I never put the time in to do it. I probably would have saved a lot of money if I just put my head down and learned myself, but it's kind of complex and I had 6 other hats on. So my digital ads and basically the next help that I'm seeking and that I'm like working towards is kind of a right-hand man. I got a guy right now that's been working with me for about a month and a half who I trust deeply. And he is kind of just reminding me things that I know I need to remind myself out, but I don't. So like inventory management, website appearance, restocks, DMs, just things that I like will forget throughout the days. Like, hey, go check this. Hey, like we need more of these on order, or hey, like this hat's getting low or this t-shirt's getting low. Like let's order a few more of those. So that shit is so important because like for the longest time, inventory was a problem of mine. Keeping stuff in stock, losing sales. If the lover's hat sells 20 of them a day. If we're out of stock on that, that's 20 sales that I just missed out on. So like keeping things in stock was one of my biggest issues. And bringing this guy on, helping with an inventory planning sheet and understanding like this is how many days of inventory you have left. That has been a massive help. And then, I'm starting this guy small, building the trust, having him take more and more responsibility along the way. And then eventually he will be my right-hand man who I can trust fully, who I can relinquish everything to if need be. When I want to go on a vacation somewhere around the world, I can trust him to help me out.
Yeah.
So I'm getting there, and not thank God, but I'm grateful that Lovesick is doing well enough that I can seek the help because there's a lot of e-com stores that aren't doing what we're doing. So I'm thankful for the success we've had so far.
Yeah. I forgot, I can't remember for the life of me the word, but there's this word that essentially describes when you or your company become successful to a point where you start to essentially lose money because you're not bringing other people on. There's a word for it, and I looked it up not long ago, and that's it. Kind of after this, I'll look and send it to you.
Yeah, please do.
Because it seems like that's exactly what you're experiencing, which is it's a good problem because it's almost, it forces you to expand.
Yeah, it forces me. I held on so long to not hire anybody because I didn't trust anybody. I had a few guys that came and gone, and I was just like, nope, just wasn't. I operate everything in my life, my relationships, my romantic relationships, my friends, what I put out in Lovesick, how I treat others. Like I operate on feelings, how I'm feeling, how this person is making me feel. Do I want to be with this person? Do I feel right with that person? I operate on feelings almost 100% of the time. So if I don't feel like I trust somebody, I'm not going to bring them on. And for the longest time, I was struggling with that. So finding someone that you do trust is so valuable and so underrated.
How'd you do that? Because I'm going through a hiring process, and it's an absolute
terrible.
nightmare.
Yeah,
it's hard. It's like it's a hard process. I don't know if it's right now or industry based, but how do you go through your hiring process?
I've been fortunate enough to have a lot of people reach out to me. Like, hey, I want to help when I can. I want to help when I can. Just pushing them off. Like, I got it. And then, I'm packing orders till 4 a.m. And I still have emails or I still have other shit I got to do. And I'm like, fuck, I'm completely drained. Like I'm working more, which I'm always down to do. I'm always down to work more, especially for lovesick. But it got to a point where I was like, I'm just wasting my time. Like I'm wasting my time with these tasks that I could have other people do or that I could be relinquishing to somebody else. So I had a good friend who always was like, yo, when I can help, I want to help. He's in analytics. He does inventory planning for his company and all that kind of stuff. And it got to a point where I had talked to other people about helping and I just wasn't feeling it. And this guy I've known since 4th grade. They say don't get in business with your friends, but for me, it's different because we have set clear expectations with each other. He is not the guy that's going to he knows I'm the boss, like not the boss, but he knows that I have the vision. So he is going off my tailcoats and then implementing when he thinks it's a valuable input. So I trust this guy fully because I've known him my whole life.
I'm sure you guys communicate well too.
Yeah.
Which probably.
And the thing with him is that we have been known each other since we were 10, 12, 13 or whatever. So we've spoken to each other in every type of way, like poorly, nicely, all these different types of like engagement and conversation you do with the boys, like a lot of shit talking. And then there's like serious times and then there's like learning times and all that kind of stuff. So we have had all types of dialogue with each other. So if he tells me something, if I don't trust the person that's talking to me, I'm going to get like somewhat annoyed or like, why are they trying to tell me what to do? But with a guy like this, it's like, okay, I need to think about what he's saying because I know he has my best interest in hand. You know what I mean? Yeah. So again, hiring somebody is not easy, especially for a specific role. For me, I was fortunate enough to have somebody come with me and like, hey, I know this kind of stuff. I can help you in these areas and I can learn this pretty quickly. And it's worked out so far, but it's not an easy job to hire somebody. Yeah. It sucks.
Yeah. It's actually
firing is even worse.
Thankfully I haven't had to do that.
Yeah.
And hopefully I'm going to be able to stay away from that one for a while.
Yeah. That's the goal, right?
Yeah.
Never fire anybody.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know. I would like to kind of transition into hearing about what you've been up to since we last spoke.
When was I here last?
We did our episode. It's been like 3.5, 4 months now.
Oh shit.
Yeah. And I feel like you've been up to a lot. You've done at least 3 different campaigns since we last spoke. I don't know if I can say this, but you did show it on your Instagram. You got Justin Bieber hitting you up for your clothes now. I'm just like, a lot's been up. So,
So what month was it? It was like November maybe. So November I launched that like fall campaign with those pants and stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, because I was probably rocking that around here. November, December, January. Okay, so did I release a winter collection?
When you came?
The pants were the winter collection, right?
Yeah, the pants. You had you were just getting ready to release the sweatpants. Okay,
so we released the sweatpants. Sorry, I got so much shit on my mind that I got to look at the post and see what we've done. Yeah, so we had that winter collection. We did our first pants, which was successful. Not as successful as I hoped it to be, just because I think when you are trying to gain the trust, it's just like when I first launched the hats. Not everybody bought them because they didn't know who the fuck I was. They didn't know who Lovesick was. So like, why would they trust me for a $55 hat if they aren't sure? So just like the pants, when I released them, people bought them, but not like a lot of people.
That's exactly what you said too. You said, you were assuming that your first launch was going to be a little bit of a slow takeoff because you needed to build that trust.
Exactly.
But the pants are fire, bro.
Yeah.
I wear them like, honestly, they're so comfortable. Like I wear them around the house all the time.
Yeah. The travel pants, man.
Yeah. They're really comfortable.
Yeah. Okay. So
good weight too.
Heavyweight. Yeah. The knit is awesome. So we released those. Like I said, they were slower, but now I think we have maybe like, I could probably count on my hands how many pairs we have left. So it was a slow period. Obviously you want to sell it right away, but as long as we got rid of them, like demonic success. I made my money back. People liked them. Didn't have very many complaints. Hopefully, when I release a new pair of pants, somebody will be like, I remember he did those cool pants. So I trust them. So I think it's a process of gaining trust for different types of clothing for my community because they know me for my hats and my tees and my shorts. And then we had the opportunity to do we did a launch party for our spring collection in Miami. And we did it for the Grand Prix, the Formula One, which was so much fun. I'm going to school in Arizona. I was fortunate enough to know a lot of like the people that worked in the clubs out there. And so world.Born had reached out to me in the past about doing some type of like collaboration / party. And Miami Formula One, Miami world.Born had just kind of been popping out there. And I was like, this could be like a perfect opportunity. So we did a launch party in Miami at world.Born on Saturday, launched the brand, and then we went to the race on Sunday. But the whole experience in Miami was amazing. Miami is so different than here. And people call this the Wild West, but I feel like Miami is the Wild East.
I've never been.
It is just chaos. It really is, man. I've always flirted with the idea of leaving California since I got here. The last couple of years have been great. But I've always like flirted with that idea. And before we went to Miami, I was like, man, would I want to live in Miami? Like, this might be a good, like, slow run to see if it'd be a good spot. And when we got there, I was like, this is fast. This is probably too fast for me. It's a wild place. I love it. I have fun. Beautiful women, beautiful people. Like, I love that I love that a lot of people don't speak English. It's cool. It just feels like you got to figure shit out.
You're more immersed in culture.
Yeah, exactly. I really do enjoy that part of it. So we had that launch party in Miami, hell of a time. After the Miami launch, the Formula One launch, I think that was the last launch. So I think we did 2 since. Okay. Yeah. We've done little things in between. And then the most recently, so that was spring. The most recent summer launch was the Land of Miracles.
I really like these tees. I think these are my favorite.
These are popping right now. You got to get them quick. These are popping. This is probably my favorite tee of the group. And the idea behind the Land of Miracles is the place, again, Lovesick is supposed to be like a community thing and people can relate to it. So everything I try to do, obviously the Grand Prix collection is specific to a sport and an event, but everything I try to do is like a relatable thing. So my Land of Miracles was supposed to be a place where you figured it out, where you learned something about yourself, where you learned something about your life that may have changed the course or the direction of where you're going. And my Land of Miracles, after like sitting on it, was a place in Beaufort, South Carolina. It was my dad's house. He lives out in this island in South Carolina, like a complete jungle. It's overgrown vegetation, a couple houses out there, dirt road, super dark at night. And when I left the medical sales company, I drove out to South Carolina. I'm sure I said that before on the last pod, but I spent a couple months out there to figure out what I was going to do and really lock down this brand. And when I was out there, I came up with the name, I came up with my financing, my business plan. I got my first samples, and my dad, like I said, my dad's house, a lot of this clothing, there's like palm trees on the island tee. There's palm trees on this
Grand Prix stuff. There's some palm trees.
Yeah. Palm trees are always in it, but like these banana palms, are on the hats too. And the one thing when I think about my dad's place is obviously the water and the marsh, but the banana palms that are growing everywhere. They look just like this and they just grow They grow up, they die, and they come back the next year. You don't have to touch them at all. And it's always just a reminder of like, oh, that's what my dad's place is, like these palms. It's always what it reminds me of. So my Land of Miracles is where I was able to start the brand. And a Land of Miracles can be like that for anybody, like where people kind of figured out their shit, whether it's here, whether it's on a trip, whether it's in Italy and you have an epiphany, or where you're traveling around the world by yourself and something comes to you that you want to do something different. The Land of Miracles is wherever you have figured that kind of pivotal changing moment for you. And that for me was my father's place. So I made a collection kind of around that. We did the shirts, we did the hats, we did the shorts, the jump shorts, they're nylon mesh interior. And then the tank tops were a little different vibe, but I wanted to throw them out in the summer. The tank tops were definitely more emotional. We had the Lost Lovers one, and then we had the Goodbye tank, which is like the boxes and the hands slowly separating as you get down the boxes. And it says, I always knew this day would come. So I have to bring back the kind of the emotional side of Lovesick into the collection. But it's been firing. It's been on sale since July 31st. We're doing pretty good. I'm excited to see where it's going. We got a lot of gifting. We're going to have, kind of pivoting into what we've been up to. We're going to have 3 to 7 NFL guys rocking all Lovesick the opening 2 weeks. We're working with the NFL media team to get photos taken and get tunnel pics and all that. So we got our hands on a few guys. I can't name the names yet because they're not confirmed. But we have some studs that we're like working with right now. I think I might be going out to one of these cities and doing some styling before a game and getting some content around that and trying to push that, because at the end of the day, if you know Lovesick, you've been following it, we market through athletes.
Yeah, 100%.
That's our bread and butter. And that's what the guys have inspired me. So football season's coming up, and you know how the boys get around football. Like everybody in this, even in LA, just like football is just such a guy thing. And especially when it's coming back around, people get so hyped for it. And so we got some NFL guys that we're working with right now, going to be decked in Lovesick. That's something we've been working on. This is I don't even know I should be talking about this, but it's still up in the air, but it's looking like it's going to happen. I just don't know the location, but I had the opportunity to talk with the marketing team of the PGA.
Fire.
Yeah. So doing a collaboration with the PGA cost you $250,000.
Wow.
So we're not doing that. But we are working to try to do like an official sponsorship for an event, one of their tournaments, which would entail me making a collection, all the staff wearing it. It's blasted all over the signs, the railings, whatever, the advertisement. And then we'll do like a photo shoot at the tournament and all that.
Bro, you know, I should actually put you in contact with one of my buddies. Or it's not my buddy. I know a couple of guys that have, done pretty well in the PGA. And
like golfers?
Yeah.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah. And I know them. A couple of them I know firsthand. One of the guys actually went to Pepperdine. I don't really know him too well, but there's another dude that's really good golfer. That's close friends with one of my best friends.
Can you say a name?
Justin Sue.
Justin Sue.
He went to USC.
Okay.
He's kind of swaggy though. Just
100%.
My buddy. So I could try to put you in contact third party wise. I don't know them like super well, but
let's do it.
I think that especially his demeanor, I feel like he'd look good in some love.
Yeah, let's get it going. Yeah. Sorry, I'm pulling up I have my upcoming events that I just kind of reminded myself of. Yeah, so the hope and the goal is that the tournament they pick is the Waste Management Open.
That would be crazy.
In Phoenix.
That would be crazy, especially for you. Bro.
In the backyard. I feel like it would be best for Lovesick because we have the following there. And if we're able to sell the stuff there, it will crush it. So the goal is we're shooting for the Waste Management Open in February, which gives us plenty of time, guys. Plenty of time. So let's get on that. So that's something that's coming up. The next weekend we're going to Vegas on the 26th, and we're sponsoring the celebrity poker event.
Oh shit.
So just advertising and a bunch of gifting and just really networking. I think I don't know how beneficial the actual like sponsorship of like my name being up there will be. Lovesick, not my name, but I think the networking and the people I have potentially to meet is going to be huge.
Oh, 100%.
So very excited about that, just because I know I've seen some names on the list, and you know, we gift 100 people. It only really takes one or two people to change it, to help the brand grow.
Absolutely.
So I think that's going to be super beneficial. We had something else that I've been wanting to get into for a while is styling. And was fortunate enough to style Lethal Shooter, Chris Matthews.
Yeah, I saw that.
For one of his events a couple weeks ago. I put him in like an unreleased terry cloth shirt and some like black slacks, and he loved it. I guess they're trying to get him to dress more instead of just wearing Jordans and shit all the time. And so I put him in some stuff. He loved it. We're going to start working together on a few things. He's going to be on a bunch of podcasts. So we're getting him gear. We're getting him suited up. Super nice guy, like the nicest guy ever. So really excited about that. Just yesterday, the email came in from I know she's a big what's it called? I'm sorry. She's a big
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. Help me out then.
I don't know her name. My girlfriend probably know her name.
I think it's let's see here. Yes, Carla Welch, big celebrity stylist. You know, it's crazy how life works. Yesterday, like, you know, you get up in the morning, you go through things, you think you're struggling with things, not outside of Lovesick. You know, obviously the one thing that's difficult for me is Lovesick can be doing so well, but one thing in my personal life can be off, and it can completely ruin a day, or ruin a week, ruin a month, and it can consume your mind. And so I wake up not really thinking of much, but then I open my laptop and I have an email from that person. It was like, Justin Bieber times Lovesick. Justin's going to Tokyo for a few months and he needs new hats. Would you want to gift him? And I was like, yes, absolutely. Gave him everything. And it seems like it's going to be pretty promising on the back end to see some stuff and see some Lovesick on him. Yeah, so if that happens, that could be big time. Hopefully he likes it so much that he posts something on his own. But just seeing him in the product is going to be huge for the brand. And then I'm hoping when they open it at their house, you know, Haley's right behind him. Hey, I want that one. Yeah. I want that one. I want that one. So I threw in some extra stuff for them as well. So hopefully we turn out on that, and we'll see in about a month or two if that's going to come up. That's exciting, man. I got that yesterday and I was like, whoa, that's a big deal. That could change things.
I mean, it's kind of the same thing. Last time we were talking, you had a few different goals set, and I mean, you've continuously manifested everything, right? Like you kind of see it and you're like, okay, so you go. I think you're kind of similar to me in that way. Like I kind of have my vision, and I don't personally have like the exact rubric of exactly how to get there. I'm pretty open to however it happens.
Right.
But I can paint the picture. And so
you can draw the outline.
All these pictures, right? Yeah. Your outline has been there. Boom, next. Boom, next. And you have all these different collaborations coming, all these different, you're going into even almost a new field of styling potentially. So
yeah, I mean, I was fortunate enough to meet Leon Edwards and Israel Adesanya and Alexander Volkanovski last month. A few UFC champions. And it's crazy, man. These things just like start happening and you don't expect them. and then it snowballs, and it's like a 3-day thing. I told the story about Buddy Hield my first time about him flying me to Miami, and this moment with those guys, those fighters, was so similar. It was supposed to be a lunch date, turned into we're going to dinner, turned into we're going out, turning to hey, we're going out again tomorrow, turning to you're coming to the fight next November. Like all of the stuff, it just snowballs, and it's amazing.
Yeah,
it's absolutely. So cool. But like you said, I didn't expect that, but I did expect for things to happen. And I did expect like for Lovesick to grow and to catch eyes of other people and to put it on other people. So like, although my vision of what I think is going to happen isn't completely clear, I like know where I'm going. You know what I mean?
And you know, to me, another cool thing, and we even talked about it the last podcast, is, and I mean this in the most respectful way, right? Because and we even touched on it. You are Lovesick, right? Like in Israel Adesanya, the only reason I kind of feel like I can understand his personality is because I watched a decent amount of podcasts he's been on. Seems like a dope guy, but he probably doesn't really care as much about Lovesick. But he was like, this dude's a vibe. This dude's cool. Okay, he got a cool brand too. Fire. I could support that. Blah blah blah. But he's like, your personality.
It's not about the brand.
Exactly. It has nothing to do with the brand. It's dope that you have a cool brand behind you, because then they can be like, oh yeah, let me rock this, or just support. But if you were not the person that you are, zero chance. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, you can make an argument when it comes to my romantic relationships that my communication struggles or whatever.
Me too, bro. Me too.
But I think it's my best quality. My ability to talk to anybody and create a conversation and just bullshit and talk about things that they are interested in instead of things that I'm interested in, I believe is one of my best qualities. I mean, talking to females is a different story, but like talking to people that I admire or talking to people that have like-minded interests or things that I know about, it's so easy for me. And I think most of my success with Lovesick has come from my ability to communicate and just create a personal relationship with people rather than push a piece of clothing on them or push a hat or push my brand in any type of way. It's always been about a relationship first. I mean, the reason why Leon invited me out the next night was because I set him up with a guy to go out. Then I set him up for dinner reservations and just simple things of like, hey, I think you should do this and this, like gains trust of people like, oh, this guy's got my back or he's looking out for me. He wants me to have a good time. And like little things can set you up for bigger things.
And that, not that exact statement, but speaking about it's like kind of the community that you build, that comes kind of full circle. What I was going to say earlier was, I think it's dope that you're going into like, the PGA, for instance, and trying to and doing some collaborations there, because these are kind of niche areas, right? And especially, bro, golf could use an update with their type of money too. Oh yeah, money, 100%. But the way that the clothes that they wear, even in football, in the football world, like there's not as much, as many eyes on what they're wearing, the clothes, styling, definitely for the players and people who follow them directly, for sure. But it's not like, they've hit like NBA tunnel where this League Fits is always following them. NBA tunnel. These guys are going to, Paris Fashion Week, stuff like that. So although it happens, obviously, but it's not as much of a focus. And that exact thing, I feel like, is how Lovesick started, where it was like a handful of people that knew you. Like I would be out at the bungalow and I would wear a Lovesick hat, and there would like, every time I go, there'd be a couple people. Oh, Collin? It wasn't like, oh, Lovesick though. It was like, oh, Collin.
I don't go to bungalow that much.
No. I'm just saying. I'm saying
kidding.
The hat though. I used to, bro.
I know.
But it was like nobody really. It's not that they didn't care about the brand, but they didn't buy the hat necessarily because of the brand.
Yeah.
I didn't. The first time I got a hat after we hooped, I was like, oh, that dude's dope.
You're not buying still because you feel bad for me, right?
Yeah, sure. I don't feel bad for you. I don't feel bad for you. But no, like obviously now, you have my trust. I'm like, okay, this is dope. I need this. That New York hat is crazy. I really like
Yeah,
that.
they win
You
pretty
know,
fast, but they're back soon.
I love that. I got mine.
You got yours?
Oh
Oh,
yeah,
okay,
bro,
good.
100%. You told me I
Oh,
had to get it on Monday or whatever. I was like,
okay,
I'm
good.
there,
Yeah,
9 a.m.
they were gone in 3 days.
No, I told you I'm going on Saturday night.
To
So
New
I was,
York?
yeah.
Go to that fucking, go to the Dumbo Bridge. And you know that
Dumbo Bridge.
that classic spot where it's between the brick buildings?
Mm-mm.
I'm gonna send you the location. Go
Yes,
there and get a fucking picture.
with
It's the
Lovesick.
bridge that is on the side of the hat.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
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 so
yeah. Yeah, send
I'll
me the
send you the
location.
location
Yeah, I'll
and
do
go
that. I'll be
there.
there the whole week. So
Yeah,
yeah.
you get a dope picture. I'll repost you on it.
Yeah, that'd be fire. But I was like, I saw that. I was like, oh, I gotta have this. That's
What you were saying about the golf thing, though.
the golf thing. I just think that I think Lovesick, at least from my perspective of it, right, was great on attaching to little niches, right, and creating community around the hat. Obviously through you, but around the hat. Like, when I was going to bungalow, I'd see people, boom, boom. Oh, Cane Boys, blah blah. Like RJ, PLL. The reason I saw him out one night, he was like, "Oh, that hat." I was wearing the red and tan lovers hat. He said, "Oh, that hat's dope." I was like, "I got you." Plugged him, and then you guys hit it off. It's like little things like that.
Wait a second. RJ found out about Lovesick through you?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
No shit.
yeah. I was out. That was literally the only time I met him. He's a cool ass guy. I met him it was like,
That was years ago.
yeah, it was during COVID.
Yeah.
I was living in West LA at the time. We were
No
out
way. I
at
didn't know that.
what's that place on fucking on the promenade when it was popping off?
That place.
1212.
1212.
Yeah, I had seen him at 1212. I was wearing the tan lover's hat. He was like, "Oh shit!" And then I ended up. He was cool. I got his Instagram, and I plugged him. But that's all I mean is like little small community things. I wouldn't have done that if I didn't give a fuck about like
Right.
you. I was like,
Right.
"Oh, this dude's dope." I didn't know he was with PLO or anything.
Yeah.
But I was like, "Oh, this dude's dope."
That's amazing.
Slide in there.
We're actually next year. This isn't official, but I'm gonna say whatever. Next year, we're gonna do some work with the PLL.
Oh, that's
exactly. Playing lacrosse growing up, I had to get in there somehow,
Mhm.
and they do a phenomenal job on their throwback jerseys.
Yeah, yeah.
That they do these mesh jerseys.
Bro, the
Sierra was wearing the
that
Boston
was
Cannons one, and it
sick.
sold out in like a minute.
That was sick.
So we're gonna do something around the throwback next year. We'll see what happens, how much access we get, but keep a lookout for that because we'll do something with PLL next year. But with the golf, Malbon, Malbon,
Yeah.
they do a phenomenal job at trying to bring like swag into the golf community, like make it more of a lifestyle thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Instead of just like so proper and stuff. So I definitely look for them for inspiration, but I think Lovesick can have their own little corner of the golf community that we can kind of create and like bring in a new like eye to the game as well. Maybe people that fall Lovesick that don't really love golf, maybe they start wearing this golf stuff and they're like, oh man, maybe I should start playing. Maybe, I think as we get older, especially men, golf just kind of creeps around, and then you start
clubs in the back of my car.
Yeah, you pick them up. We're all trash. That's the thing. But yeah, so like things like that, I think that's kind of the point of the brand is try to create a community in these different already created communities, and then kind of pull our own people and have our own niche, and like be able to create cool stuff with like people that maybe necessarily weren't aware of how this sport worked or how these people operated or what these people like really were trying to like get out. But I think we're going down the right path with those things.
Yeah. I mean, from an outside perspective, I would for sure agree. Like, I think it seems like that is something that you do extremely well is, just using your personality to break into an already established community. Like you said, whether it was basketball, you hit it off with Buddy and then boom, 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 he's wearing a hat, or football, lacrosse, all these different already, like you said, established communities. The reason you get your foot in the door is because of who you are.
Yeah.
And then the reason that you're able to expand is because of what you do. Lovesick.
Yeah.
And I think that's from seeing how you started and seeing where you are now from an outside perspective. I feel like that's what you're really good at.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. Yeah. I definitely think it's one of my strengths. I mean, I have many weaknesses, but I think the communication to be able to talk to people is one of my best attributes for sure.
Yeah. I can definitely see that.
Let's see.
What's another goal that you guys have, let's say through this year? Is it, reaching a new level of, how many sales you guys are averaging? Is it just
Yeah, I mean, sales are just always a goal we're trying to continue to grow on. We're doing pretty good right now. We're doing averaging like over 100K a month,
mm,
but kind of plateaued there. So we're looking to push ads and push our portfolio and do better on that end so we can get up to that quarter mil and then keep building from there and become a multi-million-dollar company. So short term, the sales goals are always going to be there. One of my goals is one of my main goals with Lovesick is to be able to create new types of pieces, not new to the fashion world, but new for Lovesick. So this fall we're doing a Western collection.
okay.
It's going to be like all cowboy / the South / country themed. And I'm working on denim right now, which I've like previewed a little bit on my Instagram and Lovesick's Instagram. So we're working on a pair of denim. We're working on unique like things that remind you of the South and cowboy. So I think this will be a big like test for us. I think we're always testing ourselves, but I think this will be a big test. Like, hey, are you able to make denim? Like denim ain't easy to one, it ain't easy to construct, but also selling it is like, it's hard because pants are so unique. You know what I mean? So that's like a goal. One of the biggest goals is creating new types of clothing for the Lovesick community because we're so good at selling hats. We're so good at selling t-shirts and shorts. But like at the end of the day, I want to be a full scale fashion brand. This is why I started. I want to be able to wear everything. I want to be able to make everything. I want to have head to toe Lovesick, So that's a big test.
What is your community base? Is it, I feel like it's pretty like almost like athleisure. The people who purchase your clothes, like what other clothes are they wearing? Are they wearing like baggy clothes? Are they wearing, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, I think we have such a wide variety of consumers because with the emails I get, I'll get an email from like a 42-year-old mom in Nashville, like taking care of her babies. That's popular on Instagram wearing a lover's hat. But then I'll have, an athlete in the NFL wearing a lover's hat. So I think it's such a wide variety of people. And I don't know specifically like the type of person that wears my hat. I need to do more market research there. But I think, again, dude, I don't even think it's about the hat. It's about like the story. It's about, obviously it's the way it looks. People love it, but I think it's about like the feeling and like the idea of the word lovesick more so over like the styling of things. I truly believe that. And I could be completely off, but I believe that the reason this brand has been successful, and I believe that the reason we, I just had a brain fart. Sorry.
It's all good.
I believe that the reason this brand has been successful and like the reason why people buy stuff is because of the story. And it's because the ability to relate to the story and the feeling you get when you know the story of Lovesick. I truly, truly believe that. And I think that's the reason where we're at and where we're going and why we'll live on for however long we'll live is because it's a relatable story. And, it's too many people can feel the same thing that I felt and not like think otherwise. So I truly believe that, again, everything comes back down to the idea of lovesick. So
I get that. I mean, I feel like, the most successful not that I've read too many of them, but consensus wise, what I've seen is a lot of the most successful people and most successful people in books that are written are saying, if you have a clear vision, a clear goal, and you stick to that, you're on the right path.
Right.
So
yeah,
that'd be it.
I think we know where we're going. It's hard to predict the future.
Oh yeah.
But the past can tell you a little bit. And if we're learning from the last 2 years, I'm taking little bits and pieces of what I've learned along the way and implementing those into the future, trying new things and taking risks. Again, you got to take risks too. My whole life, I I don't really know if I was a risk taker. I getting in trouble. I don't know if that's you call that risk, but like since Lovesick started, it's all about risks.
Mm.
And I think the bigger risk I take, the more success I have on the other side. So I've been fortunate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, bro, that's literally, I mean, what you're doing, even how you have to purchase, you take money out of your own pocket to purchase your product,
Yeah, you saw that.
make it, and then it comes back to you,
Yeah,
right?
right.
And you've done that from the beginning.
Yeah.
So now you're able to add different risks
Yeah.
because you've created like a little nest egg for yourself.
I mean, like
Created
the
success.
denim, like putting out denim is a big risk.
Mm.
Like
Because it's very different than anything else. Like even the sweats are closer to, I feel like,
it's
what you put
different
out
because you
before.
can squeeze in those. You
Mhm.
know what I mean? Like denim, they either fit or they don't.
Yeah.
And so creating a fit is extremely difficult because I'm my own fit model, but not everybody's built like me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm slender, I'm like tall, I'm lean. So like if a guy that's 5'8", 180 wants them, it's like, is my denim going to fit right?
Mm.
You know, so it's big risk. So that takes a lot of time and construction and all that. So we'll see what happens. I mean, I'm very excited about it. I think we got a lot of love from it on the beginning, but that Western collection will probably come out sometime in October.
Mm.
With
Have you like with this new, have you thought about, making a couple custom for like a couple like the NFL guys,
custom what?
like pants, construct whatever kind of vision for your jeans, give them to the NFL guy, if you're going to give them
we'll definitely be gifting. I don't know about custom because then I'd have to kind of communicate with each individual and be like, hey, what do you want for this? Are you talking about like names on them or something like that?
I just mean like testing out because they're
like giving like a sample to them.
Yeah,
like, yo, what do you think about this?
Yeah, what do you think?
Yeah,
because they're gonna be, one guy's gonna be massive, another guy's gonna be like pretty skinny.
That's the whole thing, dude. Like the body types of denim is just denim is so like unique because there's so many different body types. So not everything fits the same. So there's definitely going to be a lot of like market research, a lot of like gifting for this. So I'm definitely going to have to set a lot of pieces aside to put those out there to make sure they fit and they're doing the job and people actually like them. So it'll be a challenge. It's definitely making me sweat just thinking about it. But
that's gonna be dope. I mean, bro, like you're pushing your own boundaries,
Yeah, that's the name of the game, man.
It's like, yeah, you did it with the sweats, you did it with the shorts, you did it with the tanks.
Yeah, what are we doing if we're just staying complacent?
Yeah,
so
yeah, absolutely.
It's a long journey. We're just getting started.
That's fire. So you really want to push to be more than like because now I feel like you're like one of the guys in the city, like in LA, at least around like, bro, realistically around like West LA, like so many people wearing Lovesick hats because you're in the epicenter. A lot of people there. Nice 1 degree of separation. Just it is what it is. But you're essentially, would you rather try to see yourself as like a global brand where you're,
yeah, I mean, that would be amazing.
Mass producing essentially.
Yeah, mass producing is like a weird term, I guess, but I mean, the idea of Lovesick was always to make it as big as possible. I mean, there's a lot of cool brands out there that are very niche and small and like have a crazy cult following, but they always stay in a certain way because that's how they want it. But I mean, if I could build Lovesick into an international global brand, that would be ideal. I mean, that would set me and my family up for the rest of our lives. That is definitely a goal. It's not a goal that I think about, but it's a goal that is written down, just because I got short-term goals I'm trying to hit before. And I think it's all about the building blocks, right? I like getting ahead of yourself, I think could be detrimental to the business and to myself and could set myself up for failure.
That's something I need to learn from.
Right? Yeah. I mean, listen, I think about that shit every day. I mean, I think about that, about where this brand is going throughout the day, all day. And sometimes I have great days, sometimes I have low days, and sometimes I'm really confident and sometimes I'm not. But the idea is to build this thing to as big as it can be and then see where we go from there, whether that be, bring it around the world and make it available to everybody, or put it in somebody else's hands that can do it at a different level than me, or who knows? I don't know. But
Do you guys like ship internationally and stuff?
yeah,
Yeah, do you have a decent amount of people like from
dude,
around the globe?
Toronto is a top 5 spot for us.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's pretty sick.
Yeah, we got our guy Austin Matthews out there on the Maple Leafs wearing it. So
Oh, yeah, I remember
he's
that.
been a huge push for the brand, getting it out in Canada. So Canada's a hot spot.
Drake, where you at? Come
I
on.
know, I
Shit.
know, I know. He was just hanging out in LA last night. Um, so Toronto's huge. My buddy was out there a couple weeks ago, and he like took a picture with a random guy. My friends do this so much, and I'm very grateful for it. But like, it's so weird to me that they'll go up to random people and take selfies with them,
Oh,
because
yeah.
the person's always
What?
like, yeah, like, who am I smiling for? So he like sends me a picture. He's like, "Yo, loves the cat," and then like 45 minutes, there's like, "Dude, loves the cat again." Within 1 hour, I was like, top 5 spot.
That's
So
dope.
it's pretty cool. I mean, we have like, I mean, we've probably hit pretty much everywhere, at least once. I mean, I know we've done Dubai, we've done South Korea, we've done not China, we've done Japan, we've done Australia, New Zealand, Netherlands, Germany. So we've done a lot of places, but Canada is a hot spot. So it's pretty cool seeing orders go out around the world. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, bro, that's incredible.
Yeah, the first order, I think it was a Canadian order, was an international order, and I was like, damn, Canada, they know about us in Canada. It's crazy, but it's been awesome. It's been it's cool to see like it expand outside of California and Arizona.
Are you able to like to actually thoroughly enjoy these moments, or are you just like, oh,
No.
that's sick, and then it's just
Yes, it's like a curse. One thing get a little vulnerable here, is I wish I had someone significant to celebrate with. A lot of my celebrations this last 2 years have come by myself, alone, mostly in my room. And so I enjoy them, but I enjoy them alone. And it sucks, because I want to be able to tell somebody that, look what we did. Like, look how far we've come. Look at like the success that we've had. But I unfortunately just haven't had anybody in my life yet that has stayed around long enough for me to like consistently share like little wins. So you're right. I mean, at the end of the day, something great happens, and I usually just celebrate on my own. I mean, when I got the picture of Odell Beckham, I was laying on my couch. My roommates were out, or my roommate was out somewhere, and I was laying. It was Friday night, and it was like 9:30 p.m. and I was laying on my couch watching a movie alone, and I got the picture of Odell, and I just sat there and smiled, and then I fell asleep. So it's like sad. I mean, I don't want to say it's sad, because I'm not trying to ask for like sympathy, but
the heart wants what it wants, bro.
The heart wants what it wants, and I'm hoping that eventually, sometime soon, I can have somebody significant that I can share these wins with. Because what's the point in the victory and the success and the celebration if it's alone? You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. I also think
that might be a good clip.
I think that's a great clip. I think it's like, that's an amazing point, because it's something that you're noticing now, right? And you see it in it like every single show, movie, whatever. This super successful person, 40 years, 50 years down the road, they've made this amazing life for themselves, but then they're like, oh shit, like what do I do with it?
It's one of my biggest fears, is like doing all this and like continuing to be in the rat race of like getting better and getting better and getting better, and then looking back and realizing that I did it all alone. That's like one of my biggest fears, and that's part of the lovesick game too. I mean, it's who knows, maybe it'll come around soon.
I feel like you got your head on right, and
yeah, I'm just trying to keep my head on right and keep bringing lovesick to a point where if I don't have anybody, I got lovesick.
And Pearl.
And Pearl. And Pearl. We got to give Pearl some like young blood or something to keep her living.
Yeah.
She's got to be around for 40 years if it's going to go down that road. So
Exactly.
my dad fucking cloned my our high school dog. And
really?
I met her for the first time when we were out in South Carolina. We had a dog in high school named Ellie Mae. She was a Weimaraner from the pound. Terrible fucking dog. My parents divorced. My dad was like, yo, you need to take this dog off your mom's hands. So she came to Arizona State. She came to Arizona State for a few years. And then when I graduated, we shipped her back down to South Carolina, and she lived with my dad, and she ended up passing away there. But before she passed, my dad got her DNA in her eggs, and they cloned her. And now they have a Weimaraner named Ellie Lynn. And bro, this dog it's crazy. The dog is like spinning image of Ellie Mae.
Really?
She's left-handed just like her, but she moves like robotically, and like all of her mannerisms, everything she does is like the same shit as Ellie.
Temperament, the same too?
Temperament, everything, dude.
Wow.
It's insane. So I just met her for the first time, so maybe I'll have to do something like that with Pearl.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, that scares me, but I would probably do it.
I'd do it for sure. My dad and I are the same way with animals. Like we're obsessed with animals. They're so important to me. I cannot live my life without an animal in my life.
Yeah.
So
that's my uncle's like that too.
Yeah, it's important.
Yeah. That's, bro. I mean, honestly, I'm excited to continue watching. Like, it's been, and I think I probably said this on the last podcast too, but it really is dope. Like, it's very inspiring to see, just literally from an outside perspective, to see the levels that you continue
thank
pushing.
you.
No, seriously, it's dope. So I don't know, man. I think
we're climbing.
Yeah,
we're going in the right direction. I mean, it's every day it's like something new, it feels like. And the one thing you said earlier is like, I gotta sit back and enjoy some of it instead of saying dope, moving on. That's something that I have not done a good job at, is quick celebrations and I move on. I need to like soak in it a little more, because when I look back and it's all said and done and I have the money and I have the family or whatever, and I don't remember those little wins, like what was the point? You know? Right. So I got to start living in the moment more and enjoying what I have when it's in front of me, and not taking things for granted when I have them and not letting them get away, you know? So,
yeah, bro, I listening to you, I actually learn. Like, I feel like internally we're kind of similar.
Yeah,
like,
I agree.
Bro,
I agree.
Even like my therapist was like, dude, you got to kind of just chill and enjoy moments. And I was like, what are you talking about? You know, it feels weird to sit in something when you're like, okay, but I still have so much more to do.
Yeah, 100%, especially with Lovesick, man. Yeah. I just feel like it all can be taken away from me at any moment. And that's why I don't want to celebrate too hard, because I am the type of guy to put all my eggs in one basket. And if it doesn't work out, it'll crush me. So if I put all my energy into something, if I build something up and it falls out, it's really hard on me. And so I don't do that with all aspects of my life. I'm still working on that. But with Lovesick, I got a pretty good hold on, like, hey, don't get too high. Don't get too low. Just stay even keel. Keep your head down. Keep working. You're about to do something great. Just keep the momentum. What I got to do is add that into the other aspects of my life. Yeah. And I think I'll be a decent human. So we'll see what happens.
So to episode 3, that's when we'll find out.
Hold on. We got some gifts for you, dude.
Oh, let's go. Is that a Lovesick bag?
Yeah, it's just like a sample bag I made.
Oh, I like that.
Tote, Terry, like it actually folds up into this. I'll show you.
That's sick.
Okay, I got these are the jump shorts. I don't
have any shorts yet.
I know. And when I asked you your weight when you came in, is because I don't know if these will fit. These are larges.
I think large will fit.
See if those will fit. If they don't, I'll get you the XLs.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
This is like my favorite color scheme that you have.
Yeah, well, I made that because people are obsessed with the lover's hat. So I wanted to give them something to like match it with.
Bro,
So I
thank you
think it's
so
a
much.
cream. Let me know what you think about those. Try them on when
Absolutely.
you can, and let me know.
I got you for sure. Bro, I actually really appreciate that.
Of course, man.
Thank you.
Always happy to be on the pod.
It's my pleasure. Is there anything else that you want to kind of touch on, and or maybe we can put a? I think it's kind of cool that we did 2 episodes. I
Yeah.
didn't think that I would do 2 episodes, but I'm really glad that we did because I do think like being able to look at your first episode versus this one, we're gonna see a
I think we
lot of
should keep
like,
ripping them.
yeah,
Yeah.
I honestly do. Like I think it's gonna be cool to be able to really actually follow this journey
Yeah.
and like on a more tangible level.
I think this is a good like update. I I not today, but I want to get more deep.
Mm.
You know what I mean?
Oh yeah,
I want people to understand like a little bit more and be more vulnerable and shit because I think it's powerful.
yeah,
And
absolutely.
like I think it's hard to do, especially when there's a camera on you and you're talking to somebody or something, but I think it's like super powerful and I think there's like messaging behind it that can relate to people and people can hear it
Mm.
and they can feel a certain type of way.
Mm.
And
Absolutely.
I don't want to force it, you know what I
Uh
mean?
huh.
But like I feel like if we do it again and we have like certain things, I feel like it could be more powerful.
Oh, bro, I will run it back.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got you for sure.
Perfect.
All right,
Great.
thank you,
Always, man.
bro. Yeah, well, if you like that style, we would run it back easy.
Yeah.
Get a little bit. Yeah,
Dude, I'm
for
down
sure.
to get more deep.
Cool.
I'm always down to get a little more vulnerable. Dude, that clip in there of